everyone. Welcome to this LinkedIn Live with me. I'm really happy to be here again with you. So today it's Wednesday and it's 9 a.m. here in Sweden. And I'm happy to join you even today. Last week, we had a really interesting LinkedIn Live about the SDG marketing do's and don'ts. But today we are going to cover the 6 arguments to convince business leaders to work with the Sustainable Development Goals. And this is a really interesting and an important topic to cover. And I will just explain shortly why and why it's important for you to know about these 6, I think, the heaviest arguments. There are a lot of other arguments as well, but we will cover the 6 heaviest arguments. So last week, we covered the SDG marketing do's and don'ts, and I got really good feedback from that LinkedIn Live, and a lot of people wanted my PowerPoints. So today I have actually prepared myself to give you the PowerPoints, so you can have it, and I will paste the link where you can download it. So just give me a couple of seconds. Meanwhile, I would like to know who's here. So please give me a thumbs up so that I know that you are here watching. And also, if you want to, I would really encourage you to write where you're from, which country, what do you work with? Are you familiar with the Sustainable Development Goals? And are you working with the goals? So I would really encourage you to be interactive with me, because this is a conversation I would like to have with you, and encourage you to work more with the Sustainable Development Goals and make you aware of the benefits with working with the Sustainable Development Goals. So let's see if I can just paste the link here. So I will put it up here. And hi, Jenny. I see that you are here. It's really great to have you from Lime Technologies, right? So I know maybe you are working with the Sustainable Development Goals, right? At Lime Technologies. So that's really great to have you here and to listen to this broadcast. So if you have questions, just put it up here, and I will really try to answer them. Hello, Eva. Also from Lund, from Lime Technologies, you are focused on the SDG 5 and sustainability in general. Yes, I know. So SDG 5, the gender equality, is actually my favorite as well. So let's see. We have Teresa. You're from the Czech Republic, working on an environmental fund. SDGs are your inspiration for investment methodology. Yes, that's really great. And we will talk a little bit about that investors are more keen on looking into the Sustainable Development Goals, and why is that? So so stay tuned, Teresa. I think you will like this session and interact with me. So let's see, I would just want to share my slides also. I will just put them up here. Let's see where I have it. Here it is. Okay, so I hope that you can see my slides. Just put it up. Okay, so we are going to cover the SDGs and companies, the 6 arguments to convince business leaders to work with the Sustainable Development Goals. So we are going to cover that, but also the business opportunities which are within the goals, and we will also touch a little bit upon the sustainability standard, the new revised ISO 26000. So this is also a very interesting part that is happening here in Sweden, at least, but also in other countries soon. So stay until the end, because I have some free gifts for you to take your learnings further on. And I've just also pasted the link into the comments field where you can just download this PowerPoint and also get the links that I'm referring to in this LinkedIn Live. So I prepared myself this time because last time I didn't realize that you wanted my PowerPoint, so I was not that prepared. But today I am. So let's get on with it. Just a very short story of mine. My name is Eva Vati, and I am the founder of 3 companies now and CEO. So I have a company named Vati of Sweden, Vati's Common Ground, and Verify Agency of Sweden. And we work with the Sustainable Development Goals to integrate them into business strategy. And what we do is mainly to educate and certify professionals and companies to integrate the Sustainable Development Goals into business strategy. So 12 years ago, I have to tell you this story because this is how it all began. So 12 years ago, I was actually traveling with my ex-husband and our 2 kids in Thailand on our parental leave. And one night, I woke up from a dream where I was asking myself this question, like, what is my purpose in life? What should I work with? And I answered myself in this really clear voice that I should work with the United Nations. And at that point of time, I didn't understand the dream because I had never, ever talked about the United Nations. I was like, and I still am a businesswoman working with business development. And actually, I am a chemical engineer in my educational point of view. And well, I've been in different executive positions, production manager within the pharmaceuticals, but also within the consultancy and the technology mainly. And I've been working with boards, and I've done that since 2009. But in parallel with my work, I started to educate myself to learn more about the United Nations and to understand how United Nations works. And I realized that, oh my goodness, United Nations are huge, of course, and they are doing great stuff, but they are also procuring goods and services. And Sweden is a huge contributor to the United Nations. We are actually the 6th largest financial contributor. But we are not contributing with our knowledge and expertise and our products and services. So that was something that I was keen on to figure out why are we not doing that, and how can we do that even more? And well, I was working at a company at that point in time, and I had this problem because when I worked at that company work group, it was like in 2016, 17. And I wanted to give the United Nations our services, IT consultancy services. But I had this problem because they didn't know about eWork Group, and I had to figure out how to communicate with them. And actually, at that point of time, the Sustainable Development Goals were launched, and also, there was a requirement actually in SDG 12.6 and 12.7, which is about sustainable procurement and sustainability reporting. So I thought that I have to do this to integrate the Sustainable Development Goals into the company's business strategy and communicate our services and our shared value with the United Nations, so they could understand what our shared value was for them. So this is what I did, and actually we had success, and we managed to get a frame agreement. Actually, the first frame agreement covering 3 years in IT consultancy services, the first one in Sweden. So that worked, and I realized that, my goodness, I need to teach this to more companies, because I realized that this will be even more, not just for the United Nations, but everywhere, the procurement, the sustainable procurement, both in the private sector and in the public sector. This will be a a demand for companies to work with. So that's why I started my companies, to educate and certify professionals how to integrate the sustainable development goals into business strategy. So they are the change makers doing the change in companies. And today I also work with the CIS technical committee in Sweden to update the ISO 26000 that I will talk more about, and the associated self-declaration, which will be launched here in February. My vision and mission is that I truly believe the future is equal. And I can see that vision in front of me. But I also believe in the power of daring to lead. And therefore, I am on this mission to spread the message to dare to lead on a global scale. So before we are covering the 6 arguments to work with the SDGs, I think you all know about the Sustainable Development Goals. Do you do that? Do you know them for real? You can just write a little answer in the chat, but I will give you some framing here. The Sustainable Development Goals were actually launched in January 2016, and there were like 193 country leaders agreeing upon Agenda 2030, and that is about eradicating poverty, reducing injustice and inequalities, and to solve this climate crisis. And this is like a huge project because it started in 2016 and it will end in 2030. And it covers 17 goals and 169 sub-targets and 230 something-ish indicators to measure upon. So this is, I think this is the world's largest project ever, actually. Sustainability stands on 3 pillars, like economic sustainability, environmental, and social sustainability. And these are interlinked, and they are expressed in the Sustainable Development Goals, all the 17 goals. But it is important to understand that companies has a really important part to make this happen, to actually actually the 17 goals and the Agenda 2030 is about saving our planet and saving us. And the companies are the engines in society, right? So they have a huge responsibility here. And also there is a huge business opportunity for them to get to work with the Sustainable Development Goals, and I will just show you how. But the first argument is actually that it is a global common language. We really need to understand that communicating through the Sustainable Development Goals make it easier for us to understand business and understand how we create value for our stakeholders. As I told you about that company that I worked with, eWork Group, we expressed our shared value through the Sustainable Development Goals, and it was really easy to understand. And it's also about securing financing from banks, public funds, and investors. So I know that you said that, Theresia, that you had, let's see, I just want to see if you have still that comment here. Yeah, so you are looking on the SDGs for investment methodology. So that is actually what I'm talking about, for investors to look into the Sustainable Development Goals and to ensure that that companies are working with them. So let's see, I just want to share my slide again. And so matching business is really important to communicate through the Sustainable Development Goals. And we will also get into more into investors. But a question to you out there is that which of these SDGs are you working with? You could share that in the chat with me. I know that Eva, you said number 5, but for your company, is it only number 5, or are you working with some other SDGs? Do share that in the chat. And also, if you are not working at a company, but you are interested into the Sustainable Development Goals, which of these goals are the most important for you? So at What is Common Ground, we have linked the SDG 4.7, which is quality education, because we are educating people, and also SDG 5, gender equality, and SDG 8, which is good jobs and economic growth, 10, reduce inequalities, 12, which is responsible consumption, 16, actually 16.10 is our goal, which is peace and justice, and that's more about anti-corruption. And SDG 17 is about partnerships. Those are the SDGs that we work with. So which one of these are you working with? I'm really interested to learn if you have defined which of the SDGs that are most important for your company to work with. Then just do share that in the chat. Let's see if I have any answers here. It's a little bit delayed here in my on my iPhone. I'm looking at my iPhone right now. So just share it. I think there was a comment here, but I cannot see it yet. So which of them are you working with in your company? Just share it in the comments field. Okay, let's move on because we are short of time. So the second argument is about investor requirements. And as Teresa pointed out, that you are working with the methodology, ESG and risk management are really important areas for investors to look into. So ESG is environmental, social governance, and they are related to the Sustainable Development Goals. So there was actually a question last week about how they relate. So that will actually be a topic I will discuss later on this spring. But it's also important to know that when you're working with the Sustainable Development Goals as a company, you are being cost efficient. And that's important for investors also to see that the company that they are investing in are aware and are cost efficient. And also, of course, the Sustainable Development Goals, as I said before, it gives you increased opportunities, business opportunities, collaboration, partnerships, and so on. And there is actually the game changer that I just want to mention, the BlackRock's commitment. They are the world's largest asset manager with nearly $7 trillion in investment. That's a huge amount of money. And their announcement was that BlackRock will make investment decisions with environmental sustainability as a core goal. And this statement, I think this statement came late autumn last year, yeah. This statement will fundamentally shift the investing policy. And companies that do not accurately report on their sustainability work and their climate impact, including having a plan to manage it to achieve the Paris Agreement, are not appropriate investments. And what they say, BlackRock, is that only companies that can handle sustainability issues can maintain long-term growth and profitability, and others pose an investment risk. So this is a really heavy argument, and more investors are following this statement. So I would also like to mention that they are not just expressing about the environmental side of sustainability, but also the social and gender equality. Because I think it was like last week or 2 weeks ago, maybe soon, they stated again that BlackRock demands that companies in 2021 take a lead in diversity. And that's SDG 5 and 10, both in terms of ethnic background and gender in both the composition of the board and among the employees. So it is not just good enough with the environmental statement, but also into they head into the equality. And why is that? Well, it is because what we see is that gender equality drives business. Companies that work with gender equality, diversity, and inclusion are performing better. So that's, I mean, then it's a no-brainer for BlackRock to actually give this statement, because they want to see their companies to be the ones that are performing the best, right? So this is really interesting. So what do you think about it? Just write in the comments field if you have any reflections on this and thoughts. It's really interesting to read about what you think. And also, Teresa, if you have any comments on that and how you look at investing in companies working with the Sustainable Development Goals, what do you look at, and what is important for you? So please share that in the chat. I would love to read it. Okay, if we just head on, I will read the comments later on here. But number 3 argument is about the legislation, conventions, and international expectations. So so there are, from the agenda and from the Sustainable Development Goals, there are legislations coming out from the agenda. For example, the anti-corruption, the GDPR, and also now, as we said, about gender equality and diversity and inclusion. So as I just mentioned, the BlackRock is taking a stand here, and they are giving this statement. However, what is happening also is that the EU wants to drive this as well, the European Union. They want to see companies, listed companies, to become more gender equal. And actually, just also a couple of weeks ago, Germany announced, or the German government approved legislation that will require large companies to put at least one woman on their management boards, according to German media. So Germany is leading the way in Europe, actually. And I know that in Sweden also, of course, we are working really focused now on getting more gender equal companies. And especially the focus are on the listed companies. And yeah, so BlackRock is the one that is a game changer, but I mean, NASDAQ will follow, and a lot of things are happening within the area of gender equality. So again, Agenda 2030 and the SDGs are driving the legislations, conventions, and international expectations. So if you work with the Sustainable Development Goals, then you are actually becoming more aware of what will happen in the future. And you can future-proof your company by being prepared and working with the topics that will matter in the future. So that was that about legislations. Number 4, the 4th argument, is about creating value. So, and this is actually what we covered last week. So I will not talk a lot about it, but still a little bit. We know that working with the Sustainable Development Goals in companies are important for millennials, for example, but even for I mean, people like me, I'm like 44 years old, so I'm still, you know, I think it's important for companies to work with sustainability in general. So this is important for the employer branding. It creates value, right? And also for marketing. And marketing your company, because you have this increasingly conscious customer, and I am such a customer, for example. And what we know is that 40% of the world's largest companies actually refer to the Sustainable Development Goals in their corporate reporting. So this is KPMG international report that has discovered this, and they have a report how to report on the SDGs, what good looks like, and why it matters. However, and this is important, there has not yet been an established process or a benchmark or a standard for reporting on the SDGs. So this has made it very difficult for companies to get it right. And up until now, and I will just explain just shortly why. But when there is some kind of a guideline or such like that, companies need to have something to lean upon. They need to have some kind of a benchmark or standard to lean upon, to know how they should report on the Sustainable Development Goals and sustainability in general. So and then we are actually heading into number 5, that the Sustainable Development Goals are actually giving companies huge business opportunities, innovation, and positive impact. So companies, that they want to do more business, right? And they don't want to miss out of business opportunities. So this is something that United Nations has put together in a report. It's called the Better Business, Better World. And it's a really, really good report, and it's still valid. It was written actually in January 2017, quite early. However, if you browse Better Business, Better World, they have updated the site, the web page, and the report is still valid, because what it says is that there are like $12 trillion of business opportunities within 4 segments per year until the year 2030. $12 trillion. In Swedish kronors, it's like 18 zeros per year. Again, it's like a huge amount of money. So there are opportunities, and there are within these 4 segments: energy, cities, food and agriculture, health and well-being. And do read this report. I always tell people that, because it is a thick one, but it explains in what areas, market areas, there are these business opportunities, in which countries. So if you are an international company exporting your goods and services, you should really read this report. But also, if you're a supplier to a company that is international and are exporting their goods and services, you should also read it, because then you're aware of your customer or client, where they are heading at, and what their opportunities are. And you could actually give them some new knowledge, perhaps, to that client of yours or customer of yours. So this is a really good report to read. The 6th argument is the one that I think is truly important to understand and to know about, because this is the thing that will make you either being the leader and continue your business, or you're out of business. Because it is about sustainable procurement. It is about selling your services and goods and products. And as I said, in the SDG 12.6 and 12.7, there is this statement that you need to read this. SDG 12.6 refers to sustainability reporting, that companies should report on their sustainability work. And in EU, they have stated that the companies with more than 500 people should do that. In Sweden, it's like, I think it's 250, 300, somewhere there. And there are some other parameters as well to consider. However, so companies with more than 250 employees should look into the sustainability reporting, because there is a legislation, a law in Sweden, that you need to report on your sustainability work. And then the Sustainable Development Goals gets really very handy, because it gives you a framework of how you can work with the sustainability. And then there is the SDG 12.7, which is the sustainable procurement. And that is what that is about, is that you as a company need to ensure that you are procuring goods and services in a sustainable manner, or you need to ensure your suppliers that they are sustainable in your supply chain, actually. So if you do not do this, then you will not qualify for procurement. So I have this question for you. If you are a company or working in a company, how do you as a company ensure sustainable procurement? Think about this question. I think this question is important that you ask yourself or ask your company leader. How do you as a company ensure sustainable procurement? If you have a good answer, then just please share it in the chat, because this one is super important. And then if you are a supplier to a client or a customer, how do you as a supplier ensure you qualify for sustainable procurement and for tenders? So again, if you have a good answer for this, then please share it in the chat, and because sharing is caring. So please share it with you. But what is coming now, because this will make it easier for companies. As I said before, this has been really challenging for companies to work with sustainable procurement and sustainability reporting, because there has not been any standard for how to do it. But change is coming, and that is actually what I mentioned in the beginning, that I am working with the ISO 26000 standard, and in the CIS committee. So what we have done here in Sweden is that we have revised the ISO standard, and we have included the Sustainable Development Goals into the standard. And we have a new revised ISO 26000 standard that will be launched here in February, and also an associated self-declaration for companies. So the self-declaration, which is included in the standard, can function as a sustainability report. So what you do as a company, you actually declare how you work with your with sustainability, and by answering the questions that are stated in the self-declaration. And you can just put these answers up on your web page, for example, and communicate it as a sustainability report. But what you also can do is to verify your work, and that is possible to do by a third-party auditor. And this means that you are actually verifying that you do what you're saying that you will do. And this is really powerful, of course, because this will give you an ensuring that you are transparent and accurate with your answers. And this will make you qualify for tenders in procurement. So back to the questions that I just put on before. How do you ensure that you qualify for sustainable procurement and for tenders? Well, this is one way of doing it. and it's a simple way of doing it. So the standard will be launched in February, and you can start to work with it by your own. I would suggest that you do that in your company. And the standard in Sweden, it's not expensive to buy the standard, to read and buy. So I would suggest you to start to do it, look at the questions, and you will get a hint of what you need to do to become a sustainable company. So actually, as I said, we are a company that are educating and certifying professionals to become these change leaders in companies. So you can be, maybe you are a independent consultant, self-employed, or you are employed in a company. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you gain knowledge, and real knowledge about the Sustainable Development Goals, and about this. In this case, it is about being an auditor, being an internal auditor at your company, or being an external. You could actually, if you are employed at a company, you could actually audit your suppliers. So this is our next cohort will start in March 8th. So I have actually put up the link if you want to know more about it, in the link in the comments field that I just posted before. So just download it, and you will get information about it. But that is what we do. We educate and certify professionals to become these change leaders, the experts that can help companies to transform into better companies. So here is the free gift that I want to give you. But before I do that, I just want to check that I don't have any, if we have any answers or questions. Let's see. We have a couple of one. Oh, Stefan, I see. Good morning. Hello, Stefan. Yes, you have a free desk. And the free desk, actually, I have your free desk, and it's working super. It is like a desk you put on your desk, and you can stand up while you're working with your computer. So you made a preliminary choice of 3, SDG 3, health and well-being, 4, education, 8, which is economic growth, and 17, partnership. Okay, thank you very much. Oh, we have Bangladesh here. Hello, good morning. This is Sheikh from Bangladesh. Welcome to join. We have another one, perhaps. Oh, yeah. So Oliver, Dr. Oliver Emmons, I think you referred to the German legislation. Perhaps that has to do with the strong German co-determination system. Well, I don't know. You know that better. However, that is happening right now. So it's really interesting to see how Germany is going to work with gender equality in listed companies now. Super exciting. So let's see, Stefan, how to ensure sustainable procurement. List what parameters are important to follow up, initiate and sustain dialogues with the suppliers about these parameters. Yeah, so this is you're answering the question, how to ensure sustainable procurement. Yeah, you need to list the parameters to follow up on, because you need to set up some goals and measure them and follow up on them, of course. And then you have dialogue with your suppliers about these parameters. Well done. Yes, that's a good one, because it is super important to have dialogue with your stakeholders. It is essential to have it. Hello, Per-Olof. Let's see, you have something here. Your company, Planet People, offers solutions for sustainable procurement at the wholbot.eu. In Swedish, not full. No. I think Google Translate will do it. Yes. Okay, good. So great. You are already working with sustainable procurement, and that's great, because companies will need help And as I said before, this is happening now. The standard will be launched in February. So this means that companies will take that into their heart and apply it, because that will make it so much easier for them to ensure sustainable procurement. So, so yeah, that's really, really important. Okay, let's see if we have anything else here. No, let's see if I can just move on to my slides. Can you still see my slides? I hope so. Let's see. Okay, so the free gift that I mentioned. Well, first of all, this is the a free online course. I know a couple of you, Stefan, you have done this course, and it gives you like an introduction of what steps you need to take to future-proof your company, and gaining some new insights. So you can just download it, and it is in the link that I pasted on the in the comments field. You will get this this link to sign up for the free online course. Just do it. I mean, you can gain some new knowledge and understand what steps you need to take to future-proof your company. And also, this is a really good one because you can get free consultation. And this is why, because what we do in our educations are that the certification programs, they are a train the trainer programs, which means that people that are attending the certification course, they are applying their newly acquired knowledge directly onto a pilot company. We call them a pilot company because they are piloting their knowledge. So if you want to become this pilot company, you can gain help. And what you will get help in is actually to map your value chain, to see how your value chain looks like, and also map the sustainable development goals towards your value chain, both looking from the positive impact you're doing as a company, your company, but also how you can reduce the negative impacts that you are doing as well. And then you also work with your stakeholders, like Stefan mentioned in the comments field, that you really need to have a dialogue with your stakeholders, but you need to understand which of those are the most important ones for you, and choose them and work with them, and have a program to understand which one are important to communicate really close with, which ones are the ones that you are still important, but you have to maintain just a dialogue, not that intense dialogue, and so forth. And then also what you will get is a materiality assessment to choose from these sustainable development goals, which of them that are really relevant to your business to start to work with. And the course participants, they are not just working with the 17 goals, because they are too shallow. You really need to dig into the sub-targets, the 169 sub-targets. Then you understand how your company can work with the sustainable development goals, where the innovation possibilities are and your business opportunities are, but also your risks. And again, from an investor perspective, it's super important that you are aware of your risks, and also what you do to mitigate them and reduce your risks. So if you want to get this free consultation to become a pilot company, just sign up, and we will have you on our list. And then we match the course participants with the companies that they prefer. So it's not 100% sure that you will get this, because the course participants are the ones that are choosing the companies they want to pilot their knowledge on. So, and my contacts are here, of course, and you have my LinkedIn contacts as well. So thank you very much for joining today. And let's see if I just want to see if there are some more questions here. Just post them here. And otherwise, I will end this LinkedIn Live because we have, let's see, we have been here for like 45 minutes. Wow, I'm talking too much. Next time, if you have any questions or a topic that you want me to talk about, then just give me a post, and yeah, I will raise the topic. So this was actually one question that one of the attendees from the last week had about the arguments. Give me the arguments for how to convince business leaders to work with the Sustainable Development Goals. So thank you so much for being here with me today. And I will see you probably next Wednesday, 9 a.m. Thank you and bye.